It is called public speaking and presentation. So we are discussing about public speaking and presentation. Public speaking and presentation. Public speaking and presentation. And we can say that presentation refers to a formal event. Presentation refers to a formal event characterized by teamwork, and use of audio visual aids. Full stop. It is a purposeful, goal-oriented. It is a purposeful, goal-oriented and interactive communication that aims to bring a change in the understanding and opinion of the audience. So basically, that is what we call public speaking, and we are saying it involves teamwork, and it also involves use of audio visual aids, and it is something that is goal-oriented. By goal-oriented means we have a goal that we are targeting to achieve, and this goal is to ensure that we create a change in the understanding and in the opinion of the audience. Let's look at elements of presentation. Elements of presentation. Number one is the venue. Number two is the organizer. Number three is the occasion. Number four is time available. Number five is other speakers. And number six is audience. So those are the items that you really need to consider anytime you are called upon to do a presentation. You need to know where is the venue, where will I be speaking. And it's always very, very important when you are called to go and present something, you make a point of going to that place much earlier so that you become familiar with the place. Number two, you need to know who is the organizer of this event, who are the owners, who is the man on the point, so that you do not become like politicians during campaigns. When they are going around and they find there is a funeral, they just pop in. And when they are given an opportunity to speak, they start talking of a man, while actually it is a lady who is being buried. So that tells you the fellow did not consider who is at the main point, who is the organizer, why are we holding this event. The other thing is you need to know what is the occasion. Every occasion has its own speech. The speech you can make during a funeral It's not the speech you can make during a birthday party. It's not a speech you can make during a wedding. It's not a speech you can make during a graduation. So you need to know what is the occasion that you have been called to speak. The other thing is the time available. How many minutes have been allocated to you? I've been to meetings where people have been given 20 minutes and you find a person who wants to speak for a whole 1 hour. Now that is very low. You need to know how much time. You need to know how much time has been allocated to you so that as you speak, you'll be able to use just that time. Don't use again too little time, because if you had been allowed, like now in this class, I've been allocated 2 hours. So if in the next 5 hours, 5 minutes, I tell you the class is over, it is not very good. I'm confusing you because kulingana na your program, you are set to be here up to 8 or a few minutes to 8. So what do? You find that there will be a little bit of what? Confusion. So you need to know how much time has been allowed, and you must appreciate other speakers. How many people have spoken before you? How many are going to speak? And this has to do with either avoiding to repeat what the others have already said, or avoiding to speak what the others will come to speak about. Yeah. So if, for example, we are in a function and maybe it's a wedding, and you have just been told to come and talk about the man, and you know there is a person who is going to speak on behalf of the lady. So don't speak about the man and at the same time speak about the girl. Kuna mtu who is scheduled after you who is going to speak about the girl. So you need to know who are the other speakers. And also when you know who are the other speakers, it is important you connect your speeches to the speeches made earlier. It shows uniformity, it shows unity, and that becomes very, very good. Whereby in your speech you say, and so has said, I want to support this, or even not only supporting, you could also disagree. You say, I want to disagree with what my predecessor has said. The other thing is you must know who is the audience. Who are you talking to? Are you talking to young people? Are you talking to old people? Are you talking to ladies? Are you talking to men? Are you talking to people who are very rich or people who are very poor? And so on and so on. Haya, let's look at effective presentation skills. Effective presentation skills. Effective presentation skills. Number one, maintain eye contact when presenting. Maintain eye contact when presenting. Number two, make good use of gestures and facial expressions. Make good use of gestures and facial expressions. Facial expressions. Number three, avoid distractions. Avoid distractions. Number four, be well prepared. Be well prepared. You can put a hyphen hapo useme practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. Another one, number five, is be confident. Be confident. Number six. Number six, speak the language of the audience. Speak the language of the audience. Speak the language of the audience. Another one is do not fight the stage fright. Do not fight the stage fright. Stage fright. But instead take deep breaths. But instead take deep breath. Deep breaths. Number 9. Oh, number 8. Engage with the audience. Engage with the audience. Engage with the audience. 9 is use different types of tones and media. Use different types of tones and media. Another one is avoid use of filler words. Avoid use of filler words. Filler words such as so, etc. We call them filler words. Those are online. I'm saying something like this. So actually nimeongeza ingine those are called filler words. Another one is if possible, bring something to share with the audience. If possible, bring something to share with the audience. If possible, bring something to share with the audience. So we are saying, if you are called upon to be a public speaker, number 1, when you are making the presentation, ensure there is eye contact with your audience all the time. Make good use of the body gestures and facial expressions. Let your gestures, let your face move in the same tone with your message. If you are talking about happiness, let us see happiness in your face. If you are talking about, maybe you are giving a message of condolence, you cannot give a message of condolence when you are smiling. Neither can you give a message of congratulation when your face is frowned, when your face looks too sad. So let them match. Avoid a lot of distractions. Don't keep on using your phone. Don't keep on looking at the sides. Don't keep on paying attention to something that is happening out there. Maybe kuna mtu anapita pale na unamuona, you keep on being distracted. Avoid those distractions. Be well prepared. Actually, anytime you are told to go and be a public speaker, we recommend that you practice. Once you have done your speech, you go and practice in advance. You go time yourself, assume that you are in that place now, you are speaking, you speak that message. It helps you to understand the message. It helps you even to time yourself. And even now when you go to do it real, it will be so easy, as opposed to where you are presenting for the first time when it is real. The other thing is be very confident when you are speaking, and that is closely related to what we have said. When you go to the stage, don't fight what we call the stage fright. Every one of us, irrespective of how many times you have stood before people to speak, anytime you are told to stand, there is that kawoga that comes. Now, it's just like all of us. We have sat for many exams. Ndio tufike hapa, si ndio? Umekalia mitihani mingi sana, hata sijui kama uko na hesabu ya how many exams you have ever sat for. But haujakuwa mzoefu. Anytime unatangaziwa kuna kamtihani, kuna kawoga. So hiyo kawoga, it is there with everyone who is a public speaker. That's why you'll find when people are going to the stage, they come with that bump. Ama anakuja na kisonga, ama anakuja amefanya kikitu. Now that kikitu is to bring them to the stage and to make them to deal with the fear. So don't try to pretend that hauna hiyo uoga. Look for a way of dealing with it. And one of the ways is taking a deep breath. Unasimama hapo unasema, karibuni sasa, niko. Just make something, or you go and say hi to your neighbor. So when people are engaging each other, you unapata nafasi ya kujipanga-panga and you become familiar. Yeah, so don't try to avoid that. It is part and parcel. Then engage the audience. Make sure you are engaging your audience as much as possible. Speak the language of the audience. Speak the language that they are understanding. Use different types of tones. Ensure you use effective pauses. Don't speak continuously, like a radio. Speak with pauses. And again, avoid use of these filler words. Ukiongea kidogo nasema now we so I did this, so I did this, so they came, so they took this, so they agreed. So those filler words, they are very boring. Afadhali unyamaze kidogo instead of using all these filler words. Yeah. Or don't keep on telling people to do one thing continuously. I've seen some public speakers when they go to meetings, they keep on telling people, tell your neighbor, tell your neighbor. So you come over now, tell your neighbor. Akiongea one sentence, akwambia, tell your neighbor. Another one, tell your neighbor. Mukikaka, piga makofi. Those things are boring to people. At times, if you use too well, they can be very effective. But don't overdo them. Too much of anything is what? It's poisonous. Yeah. Let's now look at characteristics of effective presentation. Characteristics of effective presentation. Characteristics of effective presentation. Now, when we talk of effective presentation, we are talking of the speech and how long you shall speak. Yeah, so number one is concise and focused on the topic. Concise and focused on the topic. Number two, it must be well planned. Must be well planned. Another one is well summarized. Well summarized. Another one is clarity. Clarity. Another one, use of body language. Use of body language. And another one is a call to action. A call to action. A call to action. So those are some of the characters of the presentation. A call to action is, after sasa umeongea hiyo maneno yote, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to buy the product? Do you want us to stop doing this? Do you want us, what is it that you want us to? That's what we call the call to action. Ensure you are using your body language well. Ensure that your message is clear. It is well summarized. Ensure that it is well planned. Ensure that it is concise and focused on the topic. Actually, when I've read that, I've remembered when I was graduating, one of the village elders was called to speak. And when he stood, he started talking about my grandfather. And because I'm named after my grandfather, now people are wondering, is he talking about this George or is talking about the grandfather? Because he was talking of George, nilijua George wakati alikuja hapa, akanunua shamba, tumekaa na George. So now he's giving that history of my grandfather. So people are wondering, this George mwenye ana graduate, ndiye alinunua shamba hiyo miaka, ndiye alijenga. Now before people could realize. So the good old man, may his soul rest in eternal peace, did not speak anything about me. He spoke about my grandfather, but the occasion is mine. Yeah, so when you are invited to speak, maybe for him, we could not put him to a lot of tasks because of the old age. But for you people, when we are training you to go and make speeches in your workplaces and other places, stick to the point, the topic of the day, concentrate on that. It's just like what we see with politicians. They come to a funeral and they speak nothing about that value. They only talk about politics. Now that is wrong. You have come to a funeral. Kwanza, address the mourners. Give a message of condolence. Or you have come to a wedding. First of all, give that. Then give your agendas of the politics. We used to have a counselor in our place, those days of coming. And that guy was known Akikuja kwa mkutano, he would stand and say, habari zenu, Moi has no majority. Then he continues from there. So he does not speak about the event, anything. Hajali nini mnafanya. He always says, habari zenu, Moi has no majority. Now he starts explaining to you how Moi has no majority. Because he alikuwa zaidi ya opposition. Na ataongea amalize aketi chini. Kama ni harusi mlikuwa nayo, kama ni fundraiser, kama ni mazishi, kama ni kanisani, he has nothing about that. Let's now talk about audience analysis. Audience analysis. Audience analysis. Audience analysis. And we write that this is the process of gathering information. This is the process of gathering information about the people in your audience, about the people in your audience, so that you can understand their needs. So that you can understand their needs, comma, expectations, comma, beliefs, comma, values, attitudes and opinions. Attitudes and opinions. Yeah, that's what we call audience analysis. You need to study who am I going to speak to. You know what are their needs, what are their expectations, what are their values, what do they believe in, what are their beliefs, are they Christians, are they Muslims, are they what are LGBT, what are they? You need to know what are their values, what are their attitudes, what are the opinions that they have. So that you either make a speech that will disagree with them purposely or will agree with them. Yeah. So don't just be caught at a surprise. Don't be caught at a surprise, especially when you are disagreeing with them. Don't be caught at a surprise when you start speaking to Unamudua, these guys are not agreeing with what you are saying. But if you had known that this is their value and I want to speak against it, then when you go there, you will be very strong. Even when they try to bring some resistances, you will be very strong. As opposed to where you just speak thinking that you had a very good speech and you find that people are doing what? Are resisting it. We continue and we write that the factors to consider include one, audience characteristics such as age, audience characteristics such as age, comma, gender, comma, social background, comma, economic status, comma, economic levels, etc. Number two, audience needs and expectations. Audience needs and expectations. And number three, factors for getting and maintaining. Factors for getting and maintaining audience attention. Okay, so audience attention, such as semicolon and Roman 1. One, describe a scene or a character. Describe a scene or a character. Number two, tell a story. Tell a story. Number three, share a personal experience. Share a personal experience. And four, relate to a recent event. Relate to a recent event. Another one is point out something important about the audience. Point out something important about the audience. About the audience. Another one is ask a question. Ask a question. Another one is build suspense through a narrative. Build suspense through a narrative. So we are saying when you are doing audience analysis, look at the characters of the audience. Age, gender, social background, economic status, education levels, and so on. The other thing is you need to know what are the expectations. What are the expectations about these people? Then you need to know which factors do I need to bring on board so that I can make these guys to be attentive to what I'm saying and also maintain that. And we are told several things that you can do to attract attention. One is you can describe a character or a scene. You describe someone. You can tell them a story, a nice story. It could be a fiction story. You can share a personal experience, what you have experienced previously, more so in relation to what you're talking about. So, for example, we are talking about personal finances or how to manage personal debts. And you tell them a story of how once you are in debt, how watu wa madeni walikufuata, how ulipelekwa CRB. It looks more real and very attractive. You point out something important about the audience. Unaingia tu kwa audience unasema, hey, today you look very smart. Hey, today the room is so beautiful. Hey, today umekaa namna gani. You point out something that attracts attention. You ask them a question. You know, if people have not been concentrating, if you ask them a question, ordinarily people would feel embarrassed that they are not able to answer a question on what has just been discussed. So that will make them to be attentive, create suspense. Let them be left up wondering what is the next point. Okay, types of audience analysis. Types of audience analysis. Types of audience analysis. Types of audience analysis. One is demographic. 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 Graphic. And we say this considers factors such as age. This considers factors such as age, gender, race, culture, tribe, marital status, economic status, etc. So when we talk about demography is the study of characters of population. Number 2 is psychographic. 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 And right that this considers factors such as attitudes. This considers factors such as attitudes, beliefs, values, and thinking patterns. And thinking patterns. And thinking patterns. Number 3 is situational. Situational. And right, that takes factors such as audience size. Takes factors such as audience size. Audience size, comma, the occasion, comma, the room layout, comma, motivation, or interest level of the audience, So there we are just looking at what is there kwa ground. Hiyo ground iko aje? Ni kina nani wako hapo? How many are they? What is the occasion? Viti zimepangwa aje? Watu wanakaa wako na furaha ama hawana furaha? That's called situational. And that one is done there and there. Number 4 is called multicultural. Multicultural. And right, that this seeks to acknowledge the diversity of the audience. This seeks to acknowledge the diversity of the audience. To acknowledge the diversity of the audience. Diversity of the audience. So here we are looking at how diverse are these people in terms of their culture and so on. Good. Let's look at importances of audience analysis. Importances of audience analysis. Importances of audience analysis. When you do audience analysis, what are the benefits? Number 1, it helps you to gain trust of your audience. Helps you to gain trust. Helps you to gain trust of your audience since you can speak their language. It helps you to gain trust of your audience since you can speak their language. Number 2, helps you to persuade your audience. Helps you to persuade your audience To take the required actions. To take the required actions. Number 3, audience adaptation. Audience adaptation. Will help you to be sensitive. Will help you to be sensitive to audience needs and expectations. Sensitive to audience needs and expectations. Another one is that number 4, helps you to stick. Helps you to stick to the point of focus. To the point of focus. Number 5 is helps you to read the moods of the audience. Helps you to read the mood of the audience. Helps you to read the mood of the audience. So if you have been able to successfully do the analysis of their audience, you are able to gain their trust, because number 1, you most likely will speak their language. Not necessarily changing your language, as in if you are Kikuyu and you have gone to Nyanza, you start speaking in Luo. Or if you are a Luo and you go to Taita, you start speaking Kitaita. Or you go to Germany and start speaking German. No, but there is a language. See, when you are talking to the young people, kuna language yao. When you're talking to the young people, to the old people, there is their language. When you're talking to people who are in the slums, people who are very rich, people who are educated, there is their language. They'll be able to know that this person is speaking our language. Yeah. Kuna Kiingereza ukiongea to some people who still understand Kiingereza, they will not understand what you're saying. But on the others, you speak that and they find that it is what? It's okay. It will also help you in persuading these people. And remember, the main objective of any presentation is to persuade people, is to be able to convince people to do something or to change their opinion. When you have done a good analysis, you are in a position to quickly adapt, especially when you are doing this one that you have called tuition. Ukiangalia watu kwa ground venye imekaa, una change immediately. So that you don't continue talking about something and you realize that it is offending some people. The other thing is you are able to stick to the point, and you are also able to read the moods of the people and respond appropriately. All right, let's now look at selecting and researching the topic. Selecting and researching the topic of presentation. Selecting and researching the topic of presentation. Selecting and researching the topic of presentation. So someone has just invited you. Like this morning, someone invited me to go and speak in their dowry ceremony in the next few weeks. So what will I speak about? So you have been told we have invited you as the guest speaker. So how do you select the topic? How do you prepare for that? So number 1, identify the nature of the speaking event and the purpose behind it. Identify the nature of the speaking event. The nature of the speaking event and the purpose behind it. Number 2, know your audience. Know your audience. Number 3, think of your personal interests. Think of your personal interests, knowledge and experience. Knowledge and experience. Number 4, identify any relevant latest news. Identify any relevant latest news. Number 5, brainstorm all possible ideas. Brainstorm all possible ideas. Number 6, make a short list of possible topics. Make a short list of possible topics.
So they are the organization. They are the organization.
Another one is make a decision on the topic and commit to it. Make a decision on the topic. Make a decision on the topic and commit to it. So we are saying, number 1, you should know the nature of the speaking event. So what event is this? Like I've just told you, I've been invited to go and speak about or to speak in a dowry ceremony. So I know that the event will be about dowry payment. And what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose? Someone will be paying dowry. So as I think of what to say, I should be very clear that it's a dowry event and someone will be paying money and another one will be receiving or whatever will be paid. Then I need to know who are my audience. Ni kina nani natarajia wakue kwa hiyo ceremony. Are they people who are young? Are they people who are rich? Are they people from different tribes, or they are just people from the same the village there? Who will be there? You also need to think of your personal interests, my knowledge and my experience. Now that I've been called to speak, do I really know how to speak in front of people? Do I have any interest on issues of dowry? Do I have any knowledge on this? So you need to consider all these things. The other thing is identify any latest news, any relevant latest news. You see, like now, everyone is talking about LGBTQT, something like that. Now, that one is relevant to the issue of dowry because it's about union. The same sex what? Union. So can I get away as I speak in this function of dowry? I also discuss about the LGBTQT or whatever it's called, because it's something that is relevant. Then I brainstorm on the possible topics. Can I talk about the roles of a man? Can I talk about the roles of a woman? Can I talk about why we need to pay dowry? Can I talk what is marriage? Can I talk about the children? What will I talk about that is relevant? I brainstorm and then I look at which one I most likely will have a lot of materials and which one will most likely be interesting to the people who will be listening to me. Then when I look at all of them, I settle for one. And once I settle for one, now I get deeper into it and I commit into it. On the day of the dowry, I will go and present that. Good. Stages in planning a presentation. Stages in planning a presentation. Stages in planning. Stages in planning a presentation. Number 1. Preparation. Preparation. That is knowledge of the objectives. Knowledge of the objectives. Audience. Venue. And any guidelines given. And any guidelines given. Number 2, choosing the main points. Choosing the main points. Choosing the main points. Number 3, choosing your supporting information. Choosing your supporting information. Number 4, establishing linking statements. Establishing linking statements. Linking statements. Another one is developing an opening paragraph. Developing an opening paragraph. Number 6 now. Developing the main points. Developing the main points. Number 7, developing a conclusion. Developing a conclusion. And number 8, reviewing your presentation. Reviewing your presentation. Reviewing your presentation. So what we are saying there is you need to know how to go about these presentations. One, you prepare for it. And when it's about preparation, you need to know again what's the objective of this function, who is the audience, where will I be speaking, are there any guidelines that have been given by the organizer. Maybe I told you, ukifika hapo useme hii maneno na hii na hii. Ama ukifika hapo, don't try to speak about this and this. It can cause chaos. So when you know about such issues, then it becomes good. Number 2, you need to choose the main points. Then you need to gather information. Then you establish the linking points or the linking statements. Those are statements that will be connecting from one paragraph to or from one issue to the other. Then you develop the paragraph that will be the opening paragraph. Then from there you develop the body. Then you make your conclusion. And after you are through with the presentation, you need to sit back and review your presentation. You can ask people who are listening to you, how was it? Although quite often majority of people will tell you it was good, and if it was not good. Yeah, most people will tell you that was a moving speech. Hey, but if you could get a few guys who can tell you hapa na hapa ulifanya hii na hii yenye haikuwa sawa, that can be good. And even yourself, take time and assess yourself. You know the way God created us, we have a truth limiter. Let me call it that. Kuna kitu ndani yako that always speaks to you the truth, whether you like it or not. Itakwambia hapo I have done the right thing or I have not done the right thing. So run to listen to that conscience, especially when it is criticizing you. The next thing is presentation aids. Presentation aids. What are some of the materials you can use to do the presentation? Presentation aids. Presentation aids. And write that these are resources beyond the speech itself. These are resources beyond the speech itself. Beyond the speech itself, that a speaker uses to enhance. That a speaker uses to enhance the message conveyed to the audience. Full stop. They include one, visual aids. Number two, audio aids. And number three is fragrance frames. So visual aids, we know these are things that will help us to see. Maybe you want a projector, on a graph, on a diagram. Audio, maybe you have speakers that will help us to hear you clearly. Fragrance ni vitu zinanukia, either kunuka ama kunukia, whichever you want to demonstrate, such as food, samples, the ones that appeal either to the taste or to smell. I want us to take a small break as we allow Fatma to pray. Then I'll be back. We continue from there. Fatma, 10 minutes. So before then you have it work. So if you are not, then you are go there, you are there is something really for us. I will give about that speaking that you know that. So either so why for
And by the following, following, above areas. Yeah. Then finally, number seven. Number seven is government.
Just
Government.
the second two.
Government.
Still very fast.
Government.
Okay, so let's now look at functions of presentation 8. Functions of presentation 8. Functions of presentation 8. One, they improve audience understanding. They improve audience understanding of the information being conveyed. Understanding of the information being conveyed. Of the information being conveyed. Number two, they enhance audience memory. They enhance audience memory and retention of the message. Audience memory and retention of the message. Audience memory and retention of the message. Number three, they add variety and interest to the speech. They add variety and interest to the speech. They add variety and interest to the speech. Number four, they enhance credibility. Enhance credibility of the speaker. Enhance credibility of the speaker. And number five, they make presentation more lively. They make presentation more lively. They make presentation more lively. So we are saying when you use these gadgets, one, they improve the understanding, how people understand your message. Number two, they help people to retain, to remember what you are saying. They create a variety, as in it's not just you talking, but there is a variety, there is interest. They enhance the credibility. They show that you are well prepared, you are good, you are competent, and they make the presentation more lively. Okay, characters of a good presentation 8. Characters of a good presentation 8. Characters of a good presentation 8. One, portable, comma, easily handled and efficient. Portable, comma, easily handled and efficient. Number two, easily experienced by the audience. Easily experienced by the audience. Another one is attractive and in good taste. Attractive and in good taste. Attractive and in good taste. And number 4, supports the speech. Supports the speech. What you're saying is when you are choosing an aid to use in your presentation, one, it must be something that is portable. It is something that is easy to assemble. It is something that is also efficient. You see, like now, in my presentation, more so to Fatima, who is online, I'm using this gadget, these computers. So they are easy to assemble and they are efficient. They're not keeping on failing. Otherwise, if I'm using the computer or a camera that keeps on failing, or maybe you have a speaker that keeps on failing, those are not desirable. Then it must be something that is easily experienced by the audience. Something that is not threatening. Najua kuna kitu unaweza letea watu and it starts scaring them. In as much as you wanted them to run from it, when they look at it in a store, and that now again is not right. The other thing is ama inaibisha. You see, you can also bring something and depending on who you're talking to, waseme hiyo inaleta aibu. The other thing is it must be in good taste, it must be attractive, choose the right colors, choose the right fonts, choose the right volume, let them be attractive. Let it not be a nuisance. You go to some places and you find the volume is too high. Not unless you are talking to people who are interested in that high volume. You need to be very careful. And again, it must support your speech. What are you talking about? If you're talking about anger, like now there is drought everywhere. You cannot start now showing us a picture of a nice house or a nice car. We are talking about matters food. Why are you demonstrating a car? In as much as maybe you wanted to tell us if this car does not have fuel, it cannot move, and therefore even as when you don't have food, we cannot move. The car does not really match or does not support the discussion on food. The other item is use of voice to enhance presentation. Use of voice to enhance presentation. How can you use your voice to enhance your presentation? Use of voice to enhance presentation. Number one is pauses, or you keep on pausing. Number two is relax and clear throat. And clear your throat. You relax and you clear your throat. Don't, is what we said, don't fight the stage fright. Just be composed, relax. Use appropriate volume. Use appropriate volume. Use appropriate volume. Don't be too loud or too low that people are like this afternoon. I was in a meeting with a person and the guy was talking so low. I kept on asking him. I kept even on imagining what he's saying. And at times when I could not know whether to say yes or no, unacheka tu kidogo kidogo because hujui kama useme yes ama useme no, hata hujajua kama ni swali amekuuliza ama ni comment has made. Yeah. And because he's a person, I expected him to give me some assignments. So it's not a guy you keep on telling him, dear, tunasema nini. So you really struggle to get what this person is saying. That's not right. Make sure that whoever you're talking to can clearly hear what you're saying. Don't be a nuisance again by using a very high volume. I used to have a cousin of mine. He would visit us in the evening. And akiongea ni kama anaongelesha watu wako wa kilomita away. And quite often our grandfather would come to our queue. Huyo ni nani mlevi mlileta huko? Usiku. And the guy is not drunk, but the way he's talking, you would think watu wamejaa kwa nyumba. Maybe you are just two of you. So for him, I don't know how he could help because that is his nature. But if that is not your nature, then don't use a very high volume. We also see it even with teachers in this school. We used to have a teacher last semester. Akifunza hii class ni kama anafunza the whole floor. Na akona mwanafunzi mmoja. So why are you shouting all that much? Unajua kama uko na wanafunzi 100, you can shout. But you just have one student, then you shout the whole floor mpaka walimu wengine wanafunga milango, madirisha, unakuja kuambiwa nyamaza. It is not the other thing is articulate clearly. Articulate clearly. When we say articulate, clearly explain what you are saying. Bring out the points so well. Don't bring points in a missing way. Articulate your issues well. Another one is speak with your real voice. Speak with your real voice, not unless you are doing comedy. Unajua kama you are comedian, you can imitate the president, you can imitate Reggie, you can imitate Raila Odinga or whoever. But in a normal place, just be yourself. I've also seen it even in churches where you find there is the senior pastor. So these are the guys, when they are given an opportunity to speak, they want to speak like the senior pastor. Or even in schools like this one, kuna huyu mwalimu anajulikana kabisa. So some other teachers who are upcoming, anataka akiongea aongee kama huyo mwalimu. You can even easily confuse kama ni Kimani kwa hiyo class ama ni mtu mwingine. So don't do that. Be real. Use your own voice. Your own voice. Yeah, it is unique and we need it. The other thing is breathe from diaphragm. Breathe. The word breathe. Breathe from diaphragm. Kutoka kwa tumbo. Don't breathe from up here, but wacha hiyo sauti itoke kwa tumbo. When it's coming from the stomach, it is not hautahema haraka. I don't know whether you have seen some speakers akiongea 10 minutes, 15 minutes, ashahema sauti imepotea. Yeah, it's because they are not speaking, or they are not breathing, or they are not shouting from the stomach. Let me use that word, the stomach. So diaphragm inakuwa huko. Easy bath, yeah. Okay, later on in your own, you shall check this question of August. 2022. Question 6B. August 2022, question 6B. The next one is PowerPoint presentations. PowerPoint presentation. PowerPoint presentation. And write that PowerPoint is a computer software. PowerPoint is a computer software created by Microsoft company. Created by Microsoft company. Which allows the user to create slides with recordings, comma, narrations, comma, transitions, and other features, in order to present information, and other features in order to present information. In order to present information. So that is what we call PowerPoints. I'm sure you have seen them, or maybe even used them. They are computer softwares that you use, and they are called slides. You can use video, you can use pictures, you create narrations. Hiyo maandishi inakuwa hapo, you create transition venye kanafunguliwa unaona kakienda hivi ama kana swing. Those are called transitions and so on. Advantages of PowerPoint presentations. Advantages of PowerPoint presentations. One, flexible uses. Another one is engaging presentations. Another one is detailed customization. Another one is easy sharing and collaboration. Another one is suitable for beginners. So what we mean by that is when we are taught to use PowerPoints, one, it is very flexible. You can manipulate them the way you want. And that's why in number 3, tumesema there is detailed customization. You just do it as you wish. You tailor make it as per your need. Whatever you want to put there is what is put there. It is also engaging. You can be able to engage with your audience. They are easy to share and even to collaborate with people. And they are also very good with beginners. If you are just beginning matters public speaking, when you use a PowerPoint, it helps you to remember the points as opposed to reading a speech or as opposed to memorizing a speech. But when you use PowerPoints, they help you, they support, and they really work wonders in dealing with what we call the stage fright. A few disadvantages. Disadvantages. Number one, they may not always engage the users. They may not always engage the users. They may not always engage the users. Number two, they are easily affected by technical issues. They are easily affected by technical issues. Easily affected by technical issues. Another one is the gadgets required are expensive. The gadgets required are expensive. Just a minute. Okay, so those are some of the problems you find with PowerPoints. They may not always enable us to engage with people. They're expensive to buy, and they are always affected by technical problems. Another point on that is uses or areas where PowerPoints are used. Areas where PowerPoints are used. So number one is education. Education. Number two is marketing. Number 3 is business. Number 4 is creating resumes. Creating resumes or CVs. Number 5 is depicting growth. Depicting growth. Depicting growth. So those are some of the very many areas where we use PowerPoints in schools, in education, when you are marketing, when you are doing business, when you are creating resumes, or you are talking about yourself, when you are talking about growth. Good. The next thing is called group communication. Now discuss something called group communication. Group communication. Group communication. And write that group communication takes place. Group communication takes place when there are more than 2 persons involved. Group communication takes place when there are more than 2 persons involved. More than 2 persons involved. E.g., press conferences. E.g., press conferences. Board meetings. Board meetings. etc. Another point is that a communication network refers to the method in which a communication network refers to the method in which employees pass an information. Employees pass an information to other employees in the organization. Other employees in the organization. So stop. The network is divided based on the number of people involved. The network is divided based on the number of people involved, comma, organization structure, and the nature of the communication. And the nature of the communication. First up. Communication networks can therefore be formal or informal. Communication networks can either be formal or informal. Communication networks can either be formal or informal. Yeah, so that is what we call a group communication, which is coming in with the network. It is where we are exchanging information between more than two persons. That's what we call a group. And the classification of these networks will depend on how many people are involved, what is the organizational structure, and what is the nature of the communication. And consequently, these networks can either therefore be formal or informal. So far, we know what is a formal communication network. We know what is informal. Formal is something that is official, something that is recognized. But informal is something that is not official. It is not documented anywhere. Another point we write is that communication networks have the following characteristics. Communication networks have the following characteristics. One, the message to be passed should be clear. The message to be passed should be clear and free from jargons. Should be clear and free from jargons. Number two, the message has to be concise. The message has to be concise. Number three, the message should be well explained. Message should be well explained. Number four, the message should be passed in relevant order. The message should be passed in relevant order. Message should be passed in relevant order. Another one is that the transmitter person should be honest. Transmitter person should be honest and respect the views of the others. And respect the views of the others. Another one is that the listener plays a very important role. The listener plays a very important role. The last point in that is emotions should be controlled in passing the information. Emotions should be controlled when passing the information. So we are saying when you are dealing with a communication network, ensure that the message is very, very clear. Don't use a lot of jargons, very difficult words. Again, the message should be concise. Don't give us everlasting details. It should also be well explained. As much as we are saying it's concise, then ensure that you have explained well. It should be passed in the relevant order. We should ensure that the person who is speaking is honest and they respect the views of others. Don't just take the whole stage and don't be a person who cannot entertain the views of others. Then the listener is also a very, very important part of the communication. Because if you are speaking and no one is listening, then that cannot be a communication complete. And then in the transmission of the information, ensure that you deal with emotions. Finally, let's discuss something called team communication. Closely related to this group. So team communication. Team communication team communication. And we write that a team is a coordinated group of people. A team is a coordinated group of people working together to achieve. Coordinated group of people working together to achieve a specific common goal. Working together to achieve a specific common goal. Stop. You see, like now this class is a team. We are people who are coordinated and we are working together towards a particular goal. And we know the goal is to pass the exam. Yeah. Another point is that team communication is the interaction. Team communication is the interaction. The interaction that takes place. Is the interaction that takes place among the members of a work team. That takes place among the members of a work team. Among the members of a work team. Full stop. The benefits of a good team communication include the benefits of a good team communication include team communications include number one, higher productivity and better and better overall business results. Higher productivity and better overall business results. Number two, strong bonds among the team. Strong bonds. Strong bonds among the team, which enhances innovation. Which enhances innovation. Creativity and conflict resolution. Creativity and conflict resolutions. Number three, develops clarity. Develops clarity and better understanding of each other. And better understanding of each other. Clarity and better understanding of each other and work-related issues. And work-related issues. Another one, brings motivation to the team members. It brings motivation to the team members. Five, gives every member of the team a feeling of belonging and togetherness. A feeling of belonging and togetherness. a feeling of belonging and togetherness. So when you have effective team communication, people feel that I belong to this group, we are together. In case of anything, I can be supported by someone. It motivates people as people encourage each other, they support each other. And then it also helps us to understand each other better. We understand each other better, we know how to deal with each one of us. It also helps us to understand work-related issues. The way I explained to you what is expected of us makes you to understand it better. It creates what we call strong bonds. People become more creative, and it enhances what we call conflicts with solutions. Because when people are together, you can be sure kutakuwa na mfurukano hapa na pale, but when we are communicating, we are in a position to resolve those conflicts well. And then overall, we are able to stand strong, we are able to be more productive, and our business becomes better. Yeah, they tell us the house that is united, it will stand, but the house that is not united will fall. So when we are united, when we are talking as a team, then our company will do so well. We can call it a day at that juncture and hope to pick up from there in our next lesson. Thank you.